Guys, I'm preparing to make a 50 grams product. The packaging alone weighs 49 grams. So buyers, please pay attention. Choosing the right tools matters. Repair technicians suffer less. This batch is labeled as 2 liters solder wire. The spool itself weighs 18 grams. The actual measured full roll weight is 48.9 grams. The packaging alone already accounts for 21.7 grams. The actual usable solder wire is only 27.2 grams. To put it bluntly, the packaging almost weighs as much as the solder wire itself. We simply tested it with plain paper. Normally, high quality and stable solder wire leaves more even solder traces, and the residue is easier to wipe off. But this one shows obvious blackening, and the residue is relatively heavy. Because the tin content is only 63%, the most commonly used solder in phone repair is actually still 63/37 solder, because 63/37 solder has better flowability, melting speed, and handling feel. Basically, it is currently one of the most comfortable ratios to use. So it's not true that higher tin content is always better. The label says the melting point is 183 C. We placed 5 centimeters of solder wire on a hot plate and slowly increased the temperature for observation. It actually started melting at 185 C and only fully melted at 200 C. So it is usable, but the melting performance is not ideal. In actual repair work, you still need to raise the temperature higher for smoother operation. When melting 5 centimeters of solder wire, we monitored it using an air quality detector. There was obvious smoke generation during testing. PM 2.5 reached as high as 19 gm. This indicates that during heating, the solder wire releases a certain amount of fine particles, although it did not exceed the common indoor standard of 35. Common reference standard. It's not particularly alarming. However, prolonged close-range inhalation of this kind of smoke may still irritate the respiratory tract. The formaldehyde and TVOC readings basically did not change, which means the harmful gas control is actually fairly decent. Under simulated real repair conditions with a soldering iron at 450 C, the solder wire could tin normally, and operation was relatively smooth. However, the solder joints lack good roundness. They are prone to sharp points and tailing. The flowability is average at best. The glossiness is also not particularly good. Simply put, it can solder, but it's not very comfortable to use. Finally, here's the conclusion. This solder wire is usable for normal repair work, and there is no major issue with tinning performance. But regarding the weight, I don't think this is just a minor discrepancy anymore. The product is labeled as 50 grams, but our actual measurement shows the actual usable solder wire is only 27 grams, which is nearly half short, according to the regulations for prepackaged products. The net content refers to the actual content weight after excluding the packaging. After excluding the packaging, we consumers spend 18 yuans to buy 50 grams of solder wire, not 50 grams of plastic packaging. Therefore, I believe the brand should now provide consumers with a clear solution. Either revise the labeling, or clearly state the actual net content, or provide refunds and compensation in accordance with consumer rights regulations. If there is still no clear explanation afterward, I will also submit the measured data to the relevant regulatory authorities. Consumers should not have to buy products, go home, and then disassemble and weigh them themselves. Panda Review Lab, bringing you more tool reviews.